Hey, Lauren, it is awesome for you to come and talk with us today in
Yeah, of
regard.
course.
Thank you in regards to your just completed purchase of a super awesome condo
hmm
in Oakland,
Yeah.
and you haven't even moved in yet because I can tell by your background you're
Yeah, still.
still in your old place.
Yep.
When is your move in date?
On Monday, so only less than a week away.
Less than a week away. Fantastic. And so yeah, originally you came into the process. You were introduced to us by a friend of yours who had
hmm
also purchased a place with us,
Yep.
and then and that was a while ago. So we kind of got started.
hmm
Can you talk a little bit about how things kind of got started for you and how you kind of came into the process of wanting to purchase a place?
Sure. I think that might have been like 3 years ago, because I was still living in San Francisco at the time and had thought I wanted to stay in San Francisco. But then when my job relocated, I I wasn't sure if it was still the best place for me, and I would considered moving to the East Bay, but I didn't want to buy at the time. I wanted to actually live in Oakland for a little bit before deciding that's where I wanted to set some more permanent roots. So I think we met a couple times, but then kind of put things on pause until I started renting here. And then at some point I was ready to buy again. So I did really appreciate the patience of your team, just like not rushing me at all and kind of checking in via email saying like, hey, are you ready to get started again? But I think that was good because it did put the reminder in my head that it's something I did want to do. But then when I was finally ready to get my finances in order and get the process started again, that was about a year ago. So we did look at a bunch of places and met a few times pre-COVID just to see what my deal breakers were and what I'm looking for. And we toured a bunch of spots, but none of them really spoke to me. Um,
They weren't
uh,
that inspiring. I remember
yeah,
that time. There was the inventory at that time wasn't that great.
yeah, but it
Uh,
was still good to just see what was out there because it helped me define what I was looking for, my must-haves and things that I would completely rule a place out for, like no laundry, and I'm not interested. Um, so then when COVID happened, I think things got put back on hold. But again, it was still nice to not feel pressured at all. And even then, Haley still came with me to a place or two that um, I was thinking about at the time. But once we finally went in person, we were just like, oh no, this isn't the place. So then we didn't get in touch for a while because there was really nothing on the market until this one place popped up, and it just felt like something I needed to see. So you and I met up there. We saw the other unit in the building, and it just felt right. So yeah, it seemed like the
yeah,
time was good based on the
I of
price
all
and
it,
everything, interest
yeah,
rates.
interest rates were super, and of all the places in the time that we'd been looking together, it was by far
hmm
the most superior. And we had great timing too. So we with the whole COVID, we were at this super low point in interest rates, and prices had kind of softened.
hmm
So we were able to get a really awesome deal, which was
Yeah.
uh, doubly excellent. And so in for you, is where would you say the kind of most challenging parts of the process was for you? It seemed like being able to take a breather and then come back in was kind of
hmm
a good way for you to kind of stay on top of it. And then as it was, when you found the right place, then you were kind of ready. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely helped to kind of just see what was out there as a first step without feeling any pressure. Like I had to pick one of them at the time. And I know I had a bunch of questions just about the whole process and the mortgage process and all of that. Um, so just taking the time to, think about what I wanted and not being pressured at all. That was really great. So when I made the decision to finally put an offer is when I really felt ready to do it. and not because I felt like I had to, please the team or anything like that. It was really because I was ready to do it.
That's awesome. And then, so is there anything in particular that we did as a team that you would say that was definitely something that was just kind of awesome and kind of made the process easier or better for you?
I think one thing was because you are a team working together, if one person wasn't available, someone else was. And I think all the times we tried to schedule apartment viewings or any kinds of meetings, there was always someone available at the time. And also, I think the quick replies to my questions, it was never like I had to wait a long time to hear back from you or Haley or anyone. Just when things came up, I know the turnaround time for offers is so fast that sometimes there was a place that popped up and it was like, okay, we need to go see it
Yeah,
this week because it's going to be gone next week. But I think just being available made me feel really valued as a client. Like you really were looking out for me.
awesome. And that's it feels so great to hear that because we try so hard to do that. So that's great to hear. And then, how about when you actually, maybe the process of trying to figure out what we do as far as the offer goes and that kind of stuff? Did you find that easy or challenging, or how was that?
I remember asking you and Haley about it like a year ago about how that works. Do we overbid, underbid, and all these things? And so you kind of explained the process ahead of time. But I think it was good that when I was ready to put an offer, we just, after visiting the place, we set up a call. Just we made up a plan and strategy, and it wasn't like you were trying to, because you get a commission from it, but it wasn't like you're trying to do an unreasonable price just so you get paid. I know some people are like that, but it didn't feel like that at all. It was really looking out for my best interests and what was right for the
The
place.
unit,
Yeah.
yeah, and the value. Ultimately, we're
Hmm.
trying to, because we want you to call us again in the future when you want to sell that place,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
use us to do it. So, and then what about when you got in the contract and stuff? Sometimes that can be a really challenging part of the process for people.
Hmm.
You worked with a lender that we had introduced you to, and did that? How was that process? Did that work out well?
Yeah. I think Alicia from your office was sending a lot of emails, like an agenda kind of all the next steps, and would send updates like, okay, this is done. These are the next steps. So that was helpful just to know what the next 30 days were going to look like. And then setting me up with Joey was great, the lender, because he just answered every question I had. And I had been talking to him for over a year, and he helped me get all my finances together last year when I started this process. And I feel like he was really great to work with, so helpful, super nice guy, always available and quick to respond. So again, it felt like very valued customer where he really cared about my best interest, and he just made the process very easy, and also learned a lot just from um, the whole team being available to answer all my questions.
Beautiful. And then we actually we have that whole process where we talk about the turbulence. And do you remember that from the initial consultation where we talk about the possibility that with real estate transactions there's can be complexity and difficulty, and
Hmm.
uh, really in your transaction we didn't run into any
Yeah.
turbulence. It was pretty smooth. It was
Yeah, no, he thanked me for being organized, and I was like, oh, I feel like it's just because you were so on top of helping me, but I guess I'm also organized in general. So yeah, it just helped to know ahead
uh,
of time what to expect, so I felt prepared when we started the contract process.
Yeah, and then it's and then the process of kind of with COVID and everything, there was the signing and movement
Hmm.
of documents is a little bit different. We don't normally we like to be with you when you're doing all the loan documents, but
Hmm.
you had to do that by yourself. And was there how did that process kind of go?
That was fine. Because we used DocuSign for almost everything. And then the notary came to my house when
For
we had to
the
do the final paper signing. So that made it easy. I didn't have to really go anywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, yeah, it's kind of like, oh, that's it. It just seems too easy.
Well, that's kind of, at the end of the day, the challenges really are finding the right place. And then when you find the right place, having a good strategy to get it into contract. And then
hmm
it's kind of, it's a matter of making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed to get it to the final place.
Yeah, because I remember when we went to write up the offer, you were like, oh, yeah, we can do 25-day close. And I was like, what? That seems crazy. But then we got it done even sooner. So
We got it in even sooner. Yeah, yeah, which is we were on top of everything. It was perfect.
yeah.
Cool. Well, is there anything that you would say to somebody who might be thinking about, taking themselves from being a renter and getting themselves into being a homeowner? Um, what would you say to that person who's kind of maybe thinking about it, and how would you encourage them to take the leap?
Sure. Well, I would say as long as you have the finances ready, like that's one step, but I think it could be a daunting process. But even if you just want to start looking, it doesn't mean you have to make a decision that day, like when the day you start looking. And if you have a dedicated and trusted team you're working with and feel comfortable that you're not pressured or anything, I think just starting the whole process is a big first step. And um, if you're patient and know what you want and are committed to the process in the long run, I think it's not as scary as it seems, and ultimately you'll find something eventually.
Yeah, that and it feels right, when
hmm
when you see it, it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's the really, and the only way you can find out what that place is by being out there and looking at some stuff, and then eventually there's going to be a place where you're like, oh wow, this is this
hmm
is really this is really it. uh,
Yeah, and I have some friends who recently purchased homes and they tried to go different routes, like use there's some new company out there that they're kind of hands off and let you do the looking and then they give you a piece of the commission at the end, but I really don't think it's worth doing that just because just all the help I received and guidance throughout this whole process, I can't imagine it doing it without actual people helping me along the way.
That
So
well, that's kind
yeah.
of why we it's so great to hear that, and ultimately that's kind of where our role comes in, right? We're here
hmm
to kind of help you make good decisions, and then understand the value of what you're purchasing, and making sure that we get it right, and
hmm
get those. So that's well, I love the building that you purchased, and I'm looking forward to
yeah,
when we can hang out and
yeah, on the
have
rooftop.
on the rooftop, have a glass of wine or a glass of cider on that rooftop.
hmm
Uh, but it's been a pleasure working with you, Lauren, and we're
Yeah.
looking forward to what the future will bring. And all our annual reviews, we'll be able to check in every year and take a look at
hmm
how everything else is kind of coming along. And so, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, thank you too. It's been a great process, and even though I don't want to move again anytime soon, I will let you know when I do move eventually.
Of course. Well, we're always here, and of course we've got the different events. That not that
hmm
we're actually. Did you sign up for your pie? Did you get your?
Oh no, I don't think I got that email yet about signing up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll right after this call, I'll make
All
sure
right.
you're on that email to get signed up for that.
Okay,
So
great.
that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.